Now, Farage says he says what he thinks. I think he's just a sort of pantomime show. And by the way, I think it's ridiculous he won that award last night, because if this is not a news channel, how can he be news presenter of the...
He won.
Here we have Alastair Campbell being an absolute hypocrite as per. Firstly, this is a guy who has claimed for ages that he will never go on GB News no matter what. And now he's done it. And second of all, 1 minute on GB News, he's saying how he's all worried that democracy is withering away and democracy is so special. And then the next minute, he will not accept the result of a public vote on News Presenter of the Year. Tell me that's not hypocrisy.
And radio industry.
Yeah, because he organised the vote.
But it's been it's been around since 1931. They know the rules and regulations. They decided he can be in there. Ed Balls is a former cabinet minister. He presents on another channel.
Yeah, but Ed Balls isn't a serving politician.
But he was until very recently. He was cabinet minister.
But Nigel Farage is a serving politician.
David Lammy was doing a breakfast show on LBC while he was shadow foreign secretary.
I've got no problem with people doing the shows. I don't believe that Nigel Farage should be... The defence of GB News for not being regulated in the same way as others is that it's, quote, not a news channel.
Public vote.
How can he be...
Public vote. You're all in favour of voting.
A public vote organised by Nigel Farage's mates.
Well, it's a public vote. But let's talk about... We're going to talk about your book shortly.
I mean, absolutely typical, him saying, oh, his mates organised it, it was all a setup, the vote result isn't real. I mean, just accept it. Nigel Farage is a very popular guy. I mean, look at the polls, he's doing all right. There clearly are people in the country that like him. He has a huge social media following, especially after going in the jungle. He's able to get people to vote for him for this News Presenter of the Year award. That's democracy, Alastair. Can you not see that? Now let's just see what Alastair Campbell has to say about democracy, shall we? On the same show on GB News.
I think that what happens then, if turnout just keeps going down, you take democracy for granted. John Major, who, as you know, I used to be very, very critical of when he was Prime Minister, he made a brilliant speech.
He shoved his shirt in his underpants. You have no evidence for that.
Just don't go there.
You had no evidence for that.
Don't go there. Andrew, if you want to talk about underpants,
move on.
Okay, right.
Move on.
So, but he made a brilliant speech called "In Democracy We Trust?" Question mark. This was when Johnson was in charge, and he was warning that if you don't take care, democracy and democratic institutions can fade very, very quickly. And I worry about the extent of, you know, normalisation of lying in politics. I think is a real problem. I think media bias is a real problem. I think the extent to which, even in this campaign, you've seen an example of it where Sunak, who promised professionalism, integrity, accountability, keeps doubling down on the £2,000, and then on this betting thing.
Yeah.
Just cannot see that the public just think this is wrong, deal with it now.
So, Alastair Campbell seems to really be worried about democracy withering away, but he only seems to be worried about it when his mates are winning the elections. When Nigel Farage does well in a public vote and wins an award for News Presenter of the Year, oh no, that must be fake. It can't be a real result because people surely wouldn't vote for that hard right fascist, as Alastair Campbell probably thinks that he is. I mean, it's just a load of hypocrisy. It's a load of lies. What do you think? Let's just have a look at what Alastair Campbell had to say about Nigel Farage's award on Twitter. Let's have a look. So Alastair Campbell says, "Hello Ofcom, can you explain how a channel that isn't a news channel wins a news presenter award? Yet another chapter in the story of how the media normalised hard right politics because it is nice and easy clickbait." I mean, I've just seen so many tweets from this guy who clearly is on a high horse, thinks that he's the, you know, god of democracy and god of free speech, and then he goes on Twitter and screams at people like this and calls them hard right. And you know, there are so many normal people around this country who are not hard right. They're just normal people who want the country to work. They want a GP appointment. They want some basic border control. These are not extremist views, and they're being labelled hard right by people like Alastair Campbell, and I think we've all just about had enough of it, haven't we?